What's up, QAA listeners?
The fun games have begun.
I found a way to connect to the internet. I'm sorry, boy.
Welcome, listener, to Premium Chapter 204 of the QAnon Anonymous podcast, the Prospera episode. As always, we are your hosts, Julian Fields,
Riley Quinn,
and Travis View.
We often tackle dystopias on this podcast, but this week we're going to examine a very bizarre attempt at creating a utopia based on a mix of libertarianism, venture capitalism, crypto, and, less consciously, neo-colonialism. It's a story involving the government of Honduras, unregulated medical experiments, and a whole gaggle of failsons and daughters, including a Habsburg and one of the descendants of Ronald Reagan. Our guest writer is Riley Quinn of the Trashfuture podcast. Welcome, Riley. Can you tell us a little bit about Trashfuture?
Yeah, we're a podcast that's just about basically looking at a lot of what goes on in business, finance, technology, the private sector, basically, and finding a lot of the funny stuff, funny, quote-unquote funny stuff that you can get from reading, like, shareholder reports. The surprising thing, it may or may not be surprising, quite a bit of that stuff is good comedy grist.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, that world has been giving us jewels for a little while now.
So, I'm going to begin proceedings today by reading from a press release dated the 20th of December, 2022, from a U.S. company called Honduras Prospera LLC, which describes their lawsuit against the government of Honduras. And I quote, U.S. investors Honduras Prospera Inc. and its affiliates filed claims with the International Center for the Settlement of Investment Disputes against the state of Honduras to protect themselves against violation of international and Honduran law. The government of Honduras could mitigate the substantial liability it faces under international law by providing clear assurances that Honduras has no intention of expropriating investments in Prospera or blocking the creation of tens of thousands of new jobs or hundreds of millions of dollars in nearshoring investments in Prospera. Now, the sum of $10.7 billion American, which is the value of the suit, is approximately 2/3 of Honduras' budget for 2023. And it would be devastating to Honduras if the investors in Prospera Incorporated and such, win that case. But I want to talk about what exactly they're fighting over. So, what is Prospera? What I'm sure you've been asking for the last few minutes. They are fighting over the rights to the city of the future. Glimmering Zaha Hadid-designed eco-modernist homes that mostly only exist as renderings, a highly adaptive and intelligent regulatory system, Bitcoin as legal tender, and true personal freedom from all forms of government overreach set in the sparkling seas and sands of the English-speaking Honduran island of Roatan.
Prospera is building the fastest-growing private city project in the world, elevating human potential through a radically decentralized private governance framework. Legacy systems of governance keep individuals from reaching their full potential. Prospera provides a pro-innovation governance framework, creating the most transparent and efficient business environment in the world.
I love to elevate human innovation and potential.
And to do it with Bitcoin, right? Like, that's the main way we're going to do this, is with Bitcoin.
I find governments too regulated these days.
So, Prospera is a place where a man with a name like Machiavelli Davis can invent new cures for herpes and inject them into willing participants far away from the dead hand of the FDA. A place where Hondurans with no connection to Prospera can become, quote, e-residents and then farmed out as contingent labor for call center work in the global north. And most importantly, it's free real estate, except for the people who already live nearby in the near town of Crawfish Rock. So Prospera does not claim to really even be a city, and this is according to Prospera's own literature. It is a governance platform. And though personally, reviewing what information I can find about it, it appears to be more of a co-working space that absorbed a nearby resort. But it does appear to be in the process of legitimately building some buildings, if not the Zaha Hadid eco-modernist films that are rendered in all of its promo materials. But they've been promised to be around the corner, just a few months away from breaking ground for a couple years now. Gabriel Delgado, a city co-founder, told Scott Bayer of the Market Urbanism blog that his goal is to foster a Latin American Singapore in Honduras. And although they want to build other Prosperas in different countries, here is their full PR description, and I quote from them. The Prospera platform is a digital governance platform and business ecosystem with a legal and regulatory environment designed from the ground up to unleash entrepreneurship and innovation. Today, the platform's legal and regulatory structures have been built atop the legal framework of a new forward-thinking special economic zone in Honduras. Leveraging the potential which this governance platform unleashes, Honduras Prospera Incorporated, registered in the States, is working with some of the world's best architecture firms to build a prosperous charter city on the gorgeous Caribbean island of Roatan. So yeah, of course, obviously, we want to think about forward-thinking developments in Latin America. We think of private areas of land governed entirely by companies.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the story of a large group of Latinos with German names, Habsburgs, which were the original versions of Latinos with German names, hustling preachers, Reagan holdovers, Bitcoiners, and other global arch-libertarians getting together to break ground in the American dream on the Honduran island of Roatan.
Now, I've played BioShock before, so I feel like I know the trajectory of the story.
You have been listening to a sample of a premium episode of QAnon Anonymous.
We don't run any advertising on the show, and we'd like to keep it that way.
For $5 a month, you'll get access to this episode, a new one each week, and our entire library of premium episodes.
So head on over to patreon.com/QAnon Anonymous and subscribe.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I love you.
Jake loves you.